Hi, everyone. This is the VMB moderator. The court reporter has made it. So, Anne, I'm going to make you a panelist, and if we can do a quick mic check. Hi, Anne. This is the VMB moderator. Looks like you are connected. Can you unmute your microphone? Give us.
Yes, I am here. I am so sorry.
All right. All right. So it looks like we have everybody that we need. So with that, we can get started a little bit. Before we do, I wanted everybody to know I'm going to start recording also in WebEx. So you'll see a little thing in the upper right corner that says we are recording. And with that, we can begin.
Okay, I'll step in. This is Jamie Noland, President of the Veterinary Medical Board. It is June 4th at 9:20 a.m. and I'd like to call this meeting to order and to call for the roll.
Dr. Noland?
Here.
Ms. Bowler?
Here.
Dr. Bradbury? Dr. Bradbury?
Sorry, I didn't realize I had to unmute here.
Ms. Laredo is absent today. Dr. Nunez?
I'm here.
Ms. Prado?
Here.
Dr. Waterhouse?
Here.
Ms. Yanis?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. I would like to tell Jennifer Laredo that our hearts are with her. She's had a family emergency and we do miss her, and our thoughts are with her right now. Sorry to get emotional. It's been an emotional time. So with that, can we turn it over to public forum for questions, open it to the public?
Yes, we can. So this is the VMB moderator. I wanted to explain a few details about public comment for the members of the public. As the moderator, I'll be managing the Q&A. The board president has requested that we take Q&A. We'll be taking public comments in the order they are received for items that are not on the agenda. And just please be aware that public attendees that are using inappropriate language will not be called upon and will be muted. And with that, I'm going to open up a Q&A panel. And everyone should see on the right side of your screen, you should see a Q&A panel. If you would like to make a public comment, please type, "I would like to make a public comment." If you don't see the box, if you look in step one, if you hover down to the bottom of your screen, you'll see some circles. Click on the box with the question mark, and you'll be able to type, "I would like to make a public comment." So we'll give it a few minutes to have people, or a bit for people to indicate they'd like to make a public comment. All right, we have one person so far who would like to make a public comment. Holly Galusha. Holly Galusha, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Holly, your microphone is unmuted.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm reaching out to ask a couple of questions and express my concern. I am an intern veterinarian at the Medical Center for Birds in Oakley, and I'm working on transitioning my internship veterinary license to a full California license, but I'm struggling with the resources to make that transition. And I understand we have this current public health crisis that's affected staffing.
Holly, this is the moderator. I think we lost your sound.
Dennis, we have her name on the WebEx, so we'll have Tim reach out to her directly to address any issues with her license.
Okay. All right. So with that, we don't have any. We don't have anyone else who would like to leave a public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A panel?
Yes, that would be fine. Thank you.
All right, the Q&A panel is closed.
And Holly, we're sorry that we lost you. We will definitely reach out and contact you. I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to Alana for a moment.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to address everybody about the current situation that we're currently facing right now with the social uprisings that have been taking place. I think we would be tone deaf if we didn't address it. So I did want to have us end public session with a minute of silence for George Floyd. As you all know, he was recently lynched publicly. And, injustice for some of us is injustice for all of us. So I just think we should take a moment to acknowledge him and pay respect to his memory. I can time it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alana. We're going to go ahead and move on now and to address the petitioners that we have today. I'm going to turn it over to our ALJ, and but I do want to make mention that we are going to change the order of hearing for these petitions due to privacy issues, and we'd like to start with Susan Maurices, her termination of probation petition.
Good morning. My name is Heather Rowan. I am the ALJ assigned to this matter. Do we have Ms. Maurices on the phone, and if she is represented by counsel?
So this is the VMB moderator.
Yeah.
I do not see Susie on the attendee list.
Dennis, she is actually with Miss Bonnie Lutz. So if you can promote Bonnie to a panelist, then we can get started.
Okay, all right. Bonnie, you have been promoted to a panelist. And Bonnie, can we do a quick mic check?
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
You hear me?
Yes, we can. And did we need video?
And Dr. Maurices is also here.
Hi.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, we can. The video is there, and then we have the sound. Thanks.
So I believe now we have Ann Leitz on the phone. Just to be sure, Ann, if you have any issues hearing, please let me know as soon as you can. We'll stop and make sure everyone is heard. Miss Crawford, you are prepared to begin. We're not beginning yet. I'm just asking. Okay. It looks like you two, Dr. Maurices and Ms. Lutz, is that correct? You're both sitting a little bit far away. I just want to make sure that you keep your voices up so the court reporter can take down the proceedings. Okay?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear us both?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, and if you have any issues, please let me know. But right now I can hear both of you.
Should we do a quick mic check? Should we do a quick mic check for Ann just to make sure that she's connected? Ann, can you?
Yeah, well, you did that when she called in, but sure.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here, ready to go. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Ann. Okay, so just a quick overview. I have all of the documents that were included in the petition. It was one petition packet that I received. And as the board is aware, what we generally do, I will go on the record. I will establish a quorum, and then I'll take an overview of the case from the Attorney General, and then I will ask for the respondent statement. After that, we will go into questions. Before we begin, is there anything we need to address before we go on the record? Ms. Crawford?
Honor.
Okay, and Ms. Lutz?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Then let's go on the record, please. Okay. We are on the record before the Board of Veterinary Medicine to review the petition for early termination of probation of Sue Maurices, OH number 2020050416. My name is Heather Rowan. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. I've been assigned to hear this matter. May you take the appearance for the Attorney General, please.
Anahita Crawford, Deputy Attorney General.
And for Petitioner.
Yes, Bonnie Lutz representing Dr. Maurices, and Dr. Maurices is here as well.
Thank you. Before we went on the record, a roll was called. We established that we have a quorum of the Board of Veterinary Medicine. We will begin with opening statements. We'll begin with the Attorney General's statement, excuse me. Ms. Crawford, do you want to give us an overview?
Yes, Your Honor. This is Anahita Crawford. I am appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I am here to assist the court in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest by ensuring that the board has adequate information from which to make a decision. In this matter, between 2015 and 2016, controlled substances were ordered and received by the petitioner that were not logged or accounted for, that were obtained fraudulently. Medical records for some patients did not contain diagnosis, treatment, or prognosis, and notations of controlled substances ordered and administered for some patients appeared altered or were missing. An amended accusation was filed on October 28, 2016, where petitioner was charged with fraud or deception in the practice of veterinary medicine, altering medical records, assisting in the violation of the regulations of the board, failing to maintain prescribers' records, document valid veterinarian client-patient relationships, proper patient records, controlled substance disposition logs, anesthesia records, and failing to maintain minimum standards. The petitioner entered into a stipulated settlement with the board, which became effective on November 30th, 2017, where she admitted the truth of the allegations. A disciplinary order issued, which suspended petitioner's license for 30 days, placed her license on probation for 5 years. As part of probation, the petitioner was required to pay costs in the amount of $28,355, abide by the limitations placed on her practice, which included supervised practice, no ownership of a facility, management or administration of veterinary business or hospital, participate in continuing education, and ethics training, undergo a psychological and medical evaluation, participate in rehabilitation, alcohol and drug program, abstain from illicit substances and alcohol, and submit to drug testing, as well as participate in community services and pay a fine. The petitioner is before the board today seeking early termination of her probation, with approximately half of her term remaining. Approximately $25,000 also remains on the cost recovery ordered by the board. She has taken continuing education units, including units in ethics. She has completed new policies and procedures in her practice to ensure proper handling and logging of controlled substances. Respondent has participated in community service, undergone the psychological and medical evaluations. She has attended a drug rehabilitation program and submitted to random drug testing. However, she did miss 14 tests, with the most recent missed test in January 14th of this year. And Your Honor, when you're ready, I can introduce the Attorney General's exhibits.
Whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Exhibit 1 contains the notice of hearing for today's hearing date. Would like that marked as Exhibit 1 and admitted at this time.
Ms. Lutz, do you have any objections to Exhibit 1?
No objection.
Is this offered for jurisdictional purposes?
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit 1 is admitted for jurisdictional purposes.
Exhibit 2 is the license history certification for the petitioner.
Objections to Exhibit 2?
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 2 is admitted.
Exhibit 3 is the petition for modification of penalty and the attachments in support submitted by the petitioner.
Objections to Exhibit 3?
No objection.
Exhibit 3 is admitted.
And Exhibit 4 is the stipulated settlement along with the amended accusation, which comprised the underlying documents.
No objection.
Okay, Exhibit 4 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. As the burden is on the petitioner, I have no further statements, but would reserve the right to question the petitioner.
Thank you, Ms. Crawford. Ms. Lutz.
Yes. First of all, I just want to call Your Honor's attention to one item, and that is that Dr. Maurices was not prevented from ownership in the Village Veterinary Hospital. If you look at paragraph 17 of the stipulated settlement, it does say no ownership, but it says that she shall not own any veterinary hospital except the Village Veterinary Hospital. So she was allowed to continue ownership of her current hospital. Next, I would like to thank, I don't know if Virginia Gerard is on the call, but I would like to thank the board for putting together the probation compliance status report. And I would like to introduce that as my Exhibit A. And it's dated, well, it's not dated, but it's called Petition for Modification of Penalty Probation Compliance Status Report that we received from Virginia Gerard. And I believe that was provided to all the members of the board. I don't know if it was provided for Your Honor. Which I apologize for that if it wasn't. I don't know quite how to get that to you.
Okay, Ms. Crawford, I don't think that's in your packet. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. It's not.
Okay. I'll make a note of that. You can go ahead and continue, and we will address that in just a bit.
Okay, thank you. I'd also like to introduce, and again, I apologize because I assumed that the probation documents would be given to you, Your Honor. I made that assumption. I don't know why I made that assumption, but I just assumed that some of these documents would be provided. The documents that Ginger relied upon in making this probation compliance status report. So I understand now that those documents probably haven't been provided. If Jessica is on the call, is there any way to get those documents to Judge Rowan?
Yeah, Judge Rowan, if we have your email address, we'll make sure to email it to you right now.
So does the board have these documents?
Yes, they do.
And can we clarify what documents we're talking about? Or perhaps the email can include me?
I think the only one that we have, Ms. Lutz, is for. So if you're entering additional documents, then we'll have to get those.
So Ms. Lutz, can you tell me what document you're talking about?
Yes, I mean, I can actually go through the documents. I just assumed they'd be in the packet that was given to the board. So in addition to Exhibit A, which is the probation compliance status report, I'd like to introduce Exhibit B, which is a letter which was written on January 26, 2020 by my client, Dr. Maurices, to Ginger in response to Ginger's request about a reason for the missed call-in for drug testing. That's Exhibit B, and it's a letter again dated January 26th of 2020 from Dr. Maurices. I'd also like to introduce a letter that was sent to whom it may concern just this week from Dr. Roger Kazendorf. I believe that was sent to Ginger as well. That's Exhibit C. There's also a letter written on June 1st of 2020 from Dr. Robert Fox. That's Exhibit D. That was sent to Ginger as well. There is an email chain, which is Exhibit E, which was between Virginia Gerard and Dr. Prophet, dated May 28, 2020. And Dr. Prophet's response, which is Exhibit F, dated May 29th, 2020. It starts off, "Good evening, Miss Virginia."
Can you spell that doctor's name for me?
Yes, Profit.
Thank you.
And finally, Exhibit G, which should be in the probation file, which is a stack of forms that were filled out called Controlled Substances Abstained from Use Reporting of Prescribed Drugs, dated 11/30/2017. That I believe was confirmed that it was in the probation file. That's Exhibit G. And then actually I have one more, which is Exhibit H, which is a letter dated 1/30/2018 regarding Dr. Sue Maurices from Dr. Robert Fox. And I believe that is in the probation file as well.
And what was that last doctor's name?
Fox. F-O-X.
Okay, so Ms. Crawford, do you have these documents?
I think I have some, and I know I don't have others.
So, Judge,
has the board?
I can give these documents now to somebody. I am in my office. I can have them emailed to whoever wants them emailed to them right now. If you want to do it that way, or I can arrange to have them sent later, whatever you want me to do.
Jessica? What were you
Bonnie, if you'd like, you can forward them to me and email them to me, and I will send them out. I just need, I don't believe I have Judge Rowan's email address, but I can send it out to the board members.
Okay.
So has the board reviewed this information? Have they had it provided to them? Okay. So it seems like some of this is going to be pertinent to their deliberations. If we can get those provided, emailed around, then we can, once it says an appropriate time, we can take a few minutes to let the board review this information before we go into the question period.
And I apologize. I assumed that because Virginia Gerard had submitted this probation compliance status report, and I had confirmed with her that she had all these other documents in her probation file. I just assumed that when she provided that probation compliance status report, which is clearly based on her review of some of these other exhibits, that they would all be provided. And so I do apologize if I just made that assumption.
Okay, so all I have is the petition packet that was submitted by the Attorney General. So if those can get to Jessica, that would be great. Jessica, do you have the ability to upload at OAH or just to email?
I don't know, but I can get with Gender and see if we can upload. Do you want me to email it to OAH?
You could, if you're going to email them, email it to OAH. OAH Sacramento at dgs.ca.gov.
Jessica, can Ginger pull together these documents? Because the one I have in my packet right here, I've written notes on. So it would take me a while to go back to my emails and pull down the clean copies. But I've been in communication with Ginger for the last couple of days, and she has these documents. I don't know how much to put together because they'll probably be cleaner copies.
Gender, can you confirm if you have those documents that she's referring to?
I'm sure I have the documents. I don't have them in one place. I don't think it's as easy as you know, people are intimating for me to get them together, right? I can do it though. Actually, and I didn't take the list down. I'm willing to accept Bonnie's copies. I mean, there shouldn't be any difference.
It sounds like the copies that you're talking about,
she wants,
it sounds like the copies Ms. Bluth has.
Yeah, I've just looked through mine. There's really only two that I've got extensive notes on that will just be confusing. I'm going to go ahead and ask one of our staff people here at my office to go ahead and get these over to you, Jessica. Is that the best way for me to do it?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'm going to have to take a minute to see if I can't get a clean copy. Well, I'll just white out. I'll just do good old-fashioned whiteout on something. And then I'll get them over to you. So that'll be easier for you, Virginia. Well, I'll just send them to you.
Basically, it's the correspondence between us in the last couple of weeks or a week. That's that stuff.
Are you asking me? You want me to go through the list that I have?
Oh, no, if you're going to provide it, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you just let me have a minute, I'll go to the staff and we'll take care of this.
Okay, let's go off the record, please.
I can actually get started while they're sending those documents over.
Okay, let's go back on the record, please. Go ahead, Ms. Brooks. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Okay, as Judge Rowan or as Ms. Crawford mentioned, the mission of the Veterinary Medical Board is protection of the public, and we're all aware of that. However, there were no allegations in the accusation or the first amended accusation that any animals were harmed by the conduct of Dr. Maurices. And I would request that the Veterinary Medical Board consider that when they make a decision on the termination of this probation. The majority of the allegations in the first amended accusation relate to prescriptions that were written for controlled substances. There were no allegations in the accusation or the first amended accusation suggesting that Dr. Maurices self-administered the controlled substance, and no allegations have been made at all that Dr. Maurices had any problem with drug abuse as far as controlled drugs. There were no allegations that there was any harm to pets or humans. And after I finish with my general overview, Dr. Maurices will have an opportunity to speak to you directly about why she wrote those prescriptions. She does understand that it was wrong and illegal, and she can tell you that herself. At the present time, we know that her controlled drug logs are in compliance and up to date, and that she's logging all controlled substances in a double log toxicity, because her managing licensee, Dr. Bruce Lindsay, inspects the logs daily for compliance. And he has written a letter which is included in the petition that you have, which I will address separately at a later time. The minority of the allegations relate to record-keeping violations. Dr. Maurices has gone to extensive continuing education courses and a lot of continuing education in medical record keeping, and has completely revamped her record keeping and understands that she needs to include all of the items listed in California Code of Regulations, sections 2032.3 and 2032.4. And I believe that Dr. Lindsay has also had an opportunity to look at those records, as well as Dr. Cosman, who has been Dr. Maurices' supervising veterinarian since she began on probation in 2017. And he has submitted the reports as required and has indicated that she is in compliance with her record keeping. As far as the deficiencies found during the October 2015 hospital inspection, the compliance documentation was sent immediately. All of those things were corrected, but at this point in time, based on Dr. Lindsay and Dr. Cosman, who did inspect the facility once, she is in complete compliance with the minimum standards. As Ginger indicated in her wonderful, and thank you, Ginger, report, Dr. Maurices has complied with almost all of the terms of probation, and I'm going to address the ones that are questionable or not in compliance, because Ginger's report speaks for itself, I believe, and that's our Exhibit A. Dr. Maurices, as far as the probation surveillance, it indicated in Ginger's report that Dr. Maurices has currently paid $6,000 and at this point in time should have paid $3,000. I know that I have asked this question in the past, but I would ask that if you determine that you're going to grant this petition, that you consider transferring that excess cost probation monitoring, which is $3,000, into her cost recovery. As far as cost recovery, Dr. Maurices understands that she owes the Veterinary Medical Board around $25,000. This was caused by a variety of things, one of which that there was extensive expenses that she incurred relative to probation and to having been suspended and had the hospital closed. But she has applied for an SBA loan. She has gotten verbal approval for that loan. She expects the loan to fund daily within days, and is prepared to pay the entire $25,000 that she owes to that board for cost recovery as soon as the loan is funded. As indicated in Ginger's report, She's complied with supervised practice with Dr. Larry Cosman. She has hired Dr. Bruce Lindsay to be her managing licensee. She's done more than what was required as far as continuing education. And again, this is all in the petition. None of this has to do with the documents that are being sent to you now. She did have a psychological evaluation and a medical evaluation and has enrolled in Dr. Profit's intensive outpatient treatment at Living Epistle Services. And according to the letter from Dr. Profit, which is attached to the petition, as of December 29th, 2019, Dr. Maurices enrolled in the program in October 2017 and has participated continuously in the program to the present. So from October 2017 to December 29th, she participated continuously, and I believe she continues to participate. It's just the letter was written December 29th. Dr. Profit has recommended that due to her success with the program, that she be allowed to complete that program at this point in time. Dr. Maurices also attends AA meetings regularly and has for years, in that she has been clean and sober from alcohol abuse for 10 years. As far as the drug testing, Dr. Maurices understands that she missed some call-ins. And I understand that it's very important. We both understand that it's important when drug and alcohol testing is ordered that the probationer call in for those tests. But due to her schedule, there were times when she just missed calling in. She believes that all of the, quote, missed tests were days that she actually missed calling in. And I haven't received any information from anyone, Ginger, that suggests otherwise. So Dr. Maurices, again, will address that issue of why she missed some call-ins. But nevertheless, she has now, she responded to a letter that Ginger sent her on January 26, 2020. That is one of my exhibits, but since they're in, I will have to address that, which exhibit it is later. But a copy of that letter is in the probation file and will be sent to you, Jessica. In her letter, Dr. Maurices explains that she now has a First Source Solutions app on her phone, so that there's no way that she can miss a call. It notifies her when she's supposed to call in. So she's very comfortable now that she's not missing any calls or any tests. But until Dr. Maurices received that email from Ginger in January 2020, she hadn't received any notification from any previous probation monitors that there was a problem with her not having tested when chosen. And I know that the board is aware of the fact that we've had a lot of different probation monitors over the years, and they've been very overworked and very busy, and there were things that fell through the cracks. So as soon as Dr. Maurices received that email from Ginger and was aware that there was a problem, she immediately sought a solution, which was to get the app. As far as abstaining from controlled substances and alcohol use, there was a problem that got straightened out last week, I believe, and again, that's some of the exhibits that I'm having sent over to Jessica regarding positive tests for Percocet and other opioids. And it's now been very much confirmed that Dr. Maurices has been prescribed Percocet and other opioids over her whole time of probation, legitimate prescriptions from doctors that were treating her. We have a letter we have her form that she initially sent, the forms that she initially sent to the board on November 30th of 2017 that indicate all the drugs that she was taking. When she did that, she knew that she would be continuously prescribed Percocet, and she wasn't aware of the fact that she had to submit prescriptions or information that she was being prescribed those drugs every single time they were prescribed. Actually, she wasn't given a hard copy prescription. Initially, she was prescribed by Dr. Fox. He didn't give her a hard copy prescription, but rather called it in to her pharmacy. So it just never occurred to her. She knew that her test would be positive. She knew she was taking the drug. It just didn't occur to her that she had to notify the board every month or every 3 months when a new prescription was called in. I do believe that in Ginger's report, she indicates that we have submitted sufficient information to support the fact that the Percocet and other opioids were legitimate prescriptions prescribed by medical doctors for conditions that Dr. Maurices is being treated for. And again, I know that there's been a lot of probation monitors over the years, but until Ginger contacted Dr. Prophet on May 29th of 2020, Dr. Maurices was never questioned about the positive test for Percocet. So while she knew that she would be positive for Percocet, she was never questioned by anybody at the board saying, oh, by the way, we don't have any prescriptions. Now she knows that it's important that she notify the board. Again, community service, Ginger's report states that that's in compliance. Dr. Maurices paid the fine, and she's also complied with the requirements for ethics training. So now I'd like to switch over to a discussion of the character support letters, and they are attached to the petition, Your Honor. Now, I do apologize. Normally, we would have tried to send a Bates copy of a Bates stamped copy of the petitions and refer to specific pages, but somehow that just logistically didn't happen. So, but these letters I'm referring to, the letters by Dr. Prophet, Dr. Cosman, and Dr. Lindsay, they are all attached in the petition that you all have. So Dr. James Prophet, he is the CEO and Program Director of Living Epistle Services, which is a substance abuse rehabilitation facility located in San Diego. He holds a PhD in addition to certifications, which include but are not limited to a licensed advanced alcohol drug counselor and a certified alcohol and other drug counselor advanced. He wrote a 3-page letter dated December 29, 2019, which is attached to the petition and was signed under penalty of perjury. I wanted to just emphasize some of the points he made. He states that since her initial evaluation on January 13, 2018, Dr. Maurices has continued working in comprehensive, multi-dimensional, intensive outpatient treatment at Living Epistle Services. I also want to emphasize that Dr. Prophet says in his letter, Dr. Sue Maurices' relapse potential is, and I have put this in bold, but it wasn't in bold in his letter, is off the charts low, evidenced by having maintained full remission status for the last 9 years. Now, when we're talking about remission status, we just want to make it clear here that Dr. Maurices has not had a drug problem. She is not in remission for drugs. There's no allegations that she self-administered any drugs. And what we're talking about here is alcohol. So she has been sober 10 years, has not had a drink for 10 years, and we never received any notifications that any of her drug and alcohol tests were positive for alcohol. So that's when we talk about full remission for the last 9 years. I just want to clarify for the board drug abuse. Also, Dr. Prophet states, Dr. Sue Maurices' length of participation in the treatment program has been a 26-month tenure, working at the comprehensive intensive outpatient level of care and transitioning to the general level for care in the last previous months. Dr. Sue Maurices is accountable to this program 3 nights weekly for 3 hours each day prior to stepping down to 2 nights a week and now to 1 night weekly. So obviously she's taken this very seriously and has been consistent in attending these sessions. Her costs for the treatment have been $28,000 over 26 months. And again, I just mentioned that to kind of give you an overview of the financial impact that this has had on Dr. Maurices. She understands why she had to do all of this, but just to give you an idea. Dr. Prophet also states she expresses high motivation to complete this treatment. And he finally states, it is my professional and clinical opinion, Dr. Sue Maurices is fully reinstated as a qualified practicing veterinarian professional with no further restriction, having the necessary and current qualifications and skills to safely engage in the practice of veterinary medicine. It's clear from Dr. Prophet's letter that he believes that Dr. Maurices is safe to practice veterinary medicine and to move on and be allowed to practice without the requirement that she continue with rehabilitation and probation. The next letter I'd like to call attention to is by Dr. Bruce Lindsay. He's been the managing licensee at the Village Veterinary Hospital since the spring of 2008. No, I believe that's 2018. He has an impressive background, having served on the House of Delegates and the Board of Governors of California Veterinary Medical Association. He lives behind the Village Veterinary Hospital, and therefore he pops in regularly. He's there several times a week and is in a position to observe Dr. Maurice's practices, including those related to controlled substances, her drug logs, and her having a locked safe. He described the facility and his involvement in controlled substances in his letter attached to the petition. Kind of disconcerting not having actual people. Okay, Dr. Larry Cosman. I think all of you on board know Dr. Larry Cosman. His background is well known. In addition to his impressive 53 years as a practicing veterinarian in California, he also was an inspector for the VMB and is now an instructor at Stanford University. He has reviewed 25% of Dr. Maurice's records since January of 2018 and has also inspected her facility. He states that in his letter that he has found her to meet or exceed minimum standards. He further states that he would have no concerns if Dr. Maurice's supervised practice was terminated, and his letter is also signed under penalty of perjury. I urge the board to consider, and your honor, to consider these letters in making the decision to terminate Dr. Maurice's probation. If I could, I'd like to go back right now and just, it would help, go through my exhibits so that it's clear which exhibits I was referring to when I was talking about certain items. So Exhibit A, again, is the probation compliance status report that Ginger put together. Exhibit B,
Ms. Luce,
these were all just sent to just. Yes?
Can I interrupt you? Yeah. So I can't speak for everyone, but I don't have them yet. So do you want to wait a minute on introducing them so that we can follow along?
Sure.
I just received them. I'm sending them right now.
Okay.
Am I going to
Thank
get
you,
them as well?
I'm not sure who said that, but are you sending them to the
Ginger did.
board?
Oh, okay.
Okay, thanks. Ms. Litz, do you want to continue, or would you rather wait until everyone is looking at the documents? We don't have them yet.
Well, I'll continue just as long as everybody's not looking at the documents.
I did just send them.
Okay.
Okay, well, I really just want to sum up and provide our request. And, you know, Dr. Maurice, and based on Ginger's report, she has complied with each provision of probation, with the exception of her missing some call-ins for testing, and that has been corrected. She's improved her record keeping and her control of controlled substances. She understands she can't write prescriptions for any drugs unless they're legitimately for the patient that is listed. And our request is that the board and your honor grant her petition to terminate her probation. And thank you for your attendance. And I will, when you're all ready, go through these exhibits. And then Dr. Maurice, I don't know how you want to do this, but then Dr. Maurice is available also to provide some additional information.
Okay. Ms. Crawford and the board, have you received Ms. Litz's documents? You just shake your head and nod or nod.
I believe
some of you have not. Okay, so some people are shaking their heads, some people are nodding their heads. Ms. Litz, if the purpose of having the exhibits is to make sure that they're identified and that everybody's on the same page, we could move forward and come back to that if you would like. If there's further argument you would like to make prior to questioning, then we can wait a couple minutes.
No, I'm fine with that if you want to go forward with Dr. Maurice, and then when everybody's ready, we can go through the exhibit.
Okay. So We'll move into, I'm going to allow the Deputy Attorney General to ask some questions. Before we do that, Dr. Maurices, will you please raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Dr. Waterhouse. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
A technical question?
Go ahead.
Can we have the camera so that Dr. Maurices is in the center of the field and we can only see half her face? Thank you.
Is that better? Okay.
If we could get closer, that would be better. Thank you. Is that better?
That looks much better to me. Ms. Waterhouse, is that better?
Sorry, yes, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Maurices, will you please say and spell your name for the record?
Sue, S-U-E. Middle name is Kobrin, K-O-B-R-I-N. Maurizi, M-O-R-I-Z-I. And I'm actually a VMD PhD, if it matters.
Thank you. Ms. Crawford, do you have questions?
I do. Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Maurices.
Good morning.
In reviewing your petition, I noted that you indicated you have complete sobriety since January 9th of 2010. Is that specific to alcohol use?
Yes. I never had a problem with drugs. I've only, prior to all of this, been in rehab for alcohol. Okay. And I have never, ever tested positive for alcohol.
And so you're going on over 10 years of sobriety for your alcohol use. So I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
And as Ms. Lutz indicated, any drug testing that indicates negative, it's specifically negative for alcohol use, which is what your probation, which is why you were placed on probation, was for alcohol use?
Yeah.
Why were you placed in a rehabilitation program?
Prior to this, by the board?
Yes.
Because of the illegal drug prescriptions. But they never alleged that I was taking any medications or taking any controlled substances.
And you were, in fact, not taking any controlled substances?
Only what was prescribed.
Okay. How long did you go through the rehabilitation program?
Back in 2010, it was a 28-day program and then 2 years of aftercare. And then I continued to attend AA meetings.
Okay. And what about the rehabilitation program that the board ordered you to participate in? How long were you participating in that?
To present, I'm still involved in that rehab program. They haven't given me a green light to stop going. Dr. Prophet is recommending that I terminate that program.
And is your rehab program focused on your previous alcohol use?
Rehabilitation is, just focused on staying clean and sober. They don't really specifically deal with a substance. They deal with addiction of a substance. So it can pertain to people that are abusing alcohol or abusing drugs.
Okay. Now, as part of sobriety, abstaining from all substances is an important element of remaining sober from whatever your drug of choice is. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So how does your rehabilitation program, well, let me ask this. Are they aware that you continue patients that are controlled substances?
Oh, yes. Dr. Prophet has submitted quarterly reports from the beginning, to attest my period of each quarter in rehab.
But you know that he is aware of your continued prescriptions for controlled substances?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And how does your rehabilitation program reconcile your continued use of substances with sobriety, when one of the hallmarks is you must be clean and sober from all substances?
Because I only take medications as prescribed. There's a difference between taking a drug and getting high and taking a prescribed medication for a specific medical purpose.
And what safeguards do you have in place to ensure that taking those prescribed medications don't lead to substance abuse of alcohol again, don't lead to a relapse?
For 10 years, I have gone through AA meetings, post-rehab. And in AA, we emphasize coping mechanisms and support groups and all of the different modalities that people use in sobriety.
So AA is one of your support systems to ensure that you're not slipping into any kind of addictive behaviors?
Yes, and I've been going for 10 years.
And how long? I'm sorry.
This participation preceded this investigation.
The AA participation.
Yes, I didn't start going to AA because of the medical board.
Understood. And how long have you been on the controlled substances? I think it's Percocet and a morphine sulfate. How long have you been on those controlled substances?
I have to look back to tell you exactly when the first prescription was generated. It was probably somewhere in 2016 or 17. I was diagnosed in 2008 with a psoriatic arthritic type condition. It's a seronegative erosive arthritis. And I'm on Cosentyx, methotrexate, Celebrex, and to control pain, it's an autoimmune disease, and I periodically have flares. And so for those flares, I take either Percocet or oxycodone or one of those pain medications. Again, it's as prescribed.
So if your dates are correct, you started the controlled substances approximately around the time that your probation went into effect with the board. Is that right?
I have to look back at Dr. Fox's records to tell you exactly when he began prescribing those medications.
Mm-hmm.
And then he, instead of continuing to prescribe the controlled substances, had Dr. Cassandor take over that portion of my prescriptions. And he was able to generate for the board my individual cures report. And that's in those documents. So every prescription that has been generated for me is in that cures report.
Okay. I wanted to also ask you about the allegations and the accusation. I know that you'd like to speak about those. In particular, one of the factual allegations was that you had been interviewed by agents of the DEA, and you did admit to them that you had written prescriptions for patients, some of whom you hadn't seen, in order to obtain drugs for the hospital supply. And most of the allegations really pertain to a short period of time in 2015. Can you explain what was going on during that time when these allegations came to be?
So my ex and I had a hospital for 25 years that closed. The property was sold, and I was opening a new hospital in 2015 and going through a very contentious divorce. In order to stock my new hospital, I did not have a DEA license with the address of the new hospital. My DEA license was registered at the old hospital's address. And until that was in effect, which took a couple months, I was trying to stop that we needed. And in order to do that, I know it was wrong, and I definitely am not trying to justify what I did, but I'm explaining that's what happened. So in trying to stop the hospital, because I did not have a DEA license at that address in effect, I used prescriptions.
Why did you not consider simply waiting before either opening your hospital or finding a different lawful method to stock the controlled substances in the hospital?
Yeah, again, I'm not trying to justify what I did. But the hospital, the Animal Hospital of La Jolla, my previous facility, closed on Saturday, June 20th. My new hospital opened on Monday, June 22nd of 2015. There was no interruption in seeing patients, in continuity of care, and I was not, unfortunately, my facility was not stocked with the appropriate medications that I needed.
I do understand that, but since the actions you chose to take were unlawful, what I'm trying to understand is why you decided that taking an unlawful course above simply not opening your facility was what you was the correct direction to go for you. Why did you decide to do something unlawful instead of just not open your facility?
I wasn't aware at the time. I mean, I am now. I've taken so much continuing education that at the time, how unlawful it was. For an example, in trying to get Vicodin and narcotic cough suppressants, which we always dispensed at the hospital, I thought it would be okay at the time to write a prescription for the hospital. And then I was told, no, I had to write the prescriptions for a patient. And then we used employees' patients to try again to get those kinds of medications like Vicodin, Tusagon, Torbitrol. Post-surgery, we used butorphanol. We send tramadol home with patients. So again, in trying to run the practice smoothly, as we had always done, I tried to obtain medications and prescriptions. Once my DEA license was in effect, I no longer had to do that. And I certainly know now that that was not the right way of going about it.
And what about some of the allegations that there were drugs that you ordered during that time period? For example, Valium and I believe hydrocodone, where the drugs were notated to have been received but were not found later by your staff and during an audit, that those drugs were simply missing.
Yeah.
What was going on there?
You know, I cannot explain the details, but I can tell you that at that time, we were using binder logs, which were easily manipulated. And after I opened the hospital and this all happened, I immediately implemented calendar type logs. It cannot be tampered with. We have a calendar format, so you can't remove a page or add a page. And there is a log for each individual medication. So everything is accounted for. Next to these logs, we have a binder with the invoices of every single controlled drug that is ordered. And then the drugs themselves are kept in a double lock safe, and the keys to that double lock safe are in another safe with a combination lock. I mean, it's like Fort Knox in my hospital. There's since then, there has never, ever been an issue with even one tablet.
Okay, so you don't know the reason why they went missing, but it was not because you took any of those drugs.
No, I never took any medication.
Okay. Do you recall the allegation about a medical record being tampered with, where it indicated that 100 tablets were prescribed for a patient of controlled substances, but that it appeared that the number 100 was scratched out and it now said 10 tablets were prescribed? Do you remember that allegation?
Yes, I do.
And can you explain the circumstances around that document being altered?
I really cannot explain that.
Was that an alteration that you made?
I don't really remember exactly what, but I can tell you now I have physical exam forms for every single patient that comes in, and they are filled out with prescription information. We also now are required to give owners the details of any prescriptions dispensed. For instance, post-surgically, if we dispense something, and I have a box on our new forms that indicates that we have reviewed that with an owner. So mistakes that were made on records in 2015 have never been repeated.
So is it your position today that the allegations that gave rise to the accusation, those allegations have now been resolved by way of new procedures in your facility?
Absolutely. New procedures, new forms, new ways of logging, all the safety measures that I've implemented. Absolutely.
And that they in no way have anything to do with you diverting or using controlled substances from your facility?
No.
Now, part of your probation did require you to enter a drug and alcohol rehabilitation program. Considering your sobriety at that point of 7 years, why did you agree to a rehab program that it seems you clearly did not need for substances?
I asked during that intake phone call with Catherine Hayes if it would be permitted to just continue to go to AA, and that request was declined. They would not accept any other option.
Okay. And in your rehabilitation, I'm sorry.
I just want to say, I mean, I graduated from the University of Pennsylvania in 1984. I have dedicated my life to veterinary medicine. And until COVID-19, since my new hospital opened, I've worked 6 days a week for the last 5 years. I mean, whatever I had to do to maintain my license, I was going to be willing to do. I wasn't going to jeopardize my license and argue with the probation monitor at intake as to what the requirements were going to be to keep my license.
And even though you indicate you do not have a substance abuse problem, have you found the rehabilitation program useful and helpful?
Yes, I mean, it's another means of support. And this has been a very, very difficult time because on my normally very busy schedule, I've had to include all of these other things: community service, continuing education, AA meetings, rehab. There's so many hours in a day.
Now you're seeking to terminate your probation about halfway through the 5-year term. What assurances can you give the board that incidents like the ones that are in the accusation would not happen again? And specifically, I'm referring to your own statement that when faced with a situation where you did not have your DEA license yet, that you chose a path that was unlawful over a path that would have delayed the opening of your new facility.
Through all of the continuing education I've had and all of the mitigation that I've done, I mean, this will never happen again.
So that choice you made was based on a lack of knowledge that writing those prescriptions in order to obtain drugs for your facility. It's your statement that you did not realize that was unlawful, and now that you've learned that, that's not an action you would take again?
Yes. I think that's pretty accurate.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
I'd like to, can I just redirect?
Yes. Can both of you, I mean, I would rather be able to see the doctor. If we're able to see both of you, that would be great. But I think if you just want to ask your questions and we can continue to watch and listen to Dr. Maurices, that's also fine.
That's fine, because nobody needs to see me, really. Okay, just one thing that I'd like to call your attention to, Your Honor, and that is that Ms. Crawford suggested that Dr. Maurices was to abstain from all controlled substances, and that is not correct. If you look at paragraph 24 in the stipulated settlement, it specifically says that respondent shall completely abstain from the personal use of or possession of controlled substances except when lawfully prescribed by a licensed practitioner for bona fide illness. And that's what Dr. Maurices was doing. She was using prescription drugs that were prescribed by Dr. Fox and Dr. Kazendorf, and we have documentation to that effect. So it's not true that she was told that she was to abstain from controlled substances, period. Also, I'd like to mention that according to my reading of the first amended accusation, there were no allegations actually based on the fact that there were drugs that had gone missing. Those facts were alleged in the factual section, but none of the causes for action were based on that.
So, Ms. Lutz, did you have questions for Dr. Maurices?
No, I just wanted to do that and then go to my exhibit.
Okay. So anything further before I open it up to questions from the board? Ms. Lutz?
No, nothing, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So board members, what we will do, I have a list of your names that's posted on your website. I'm going to go one by one in that order. Dr. Nolan, do you have questions for Dr. Maurices?
Good morning, Dr. Maurices. Jamie Nolan. I have a question. I think I would like to hear you expound on why you're seeking a early termination of this probation.
I feel like, well, I know I have complied with all of the requirements in the order and decision. I've done all of the evaluations I was asked to go through. I've gone through extensive continuing education, much more than is required without a probation term. I have attended a very, very intense rehabilitation program. It's certainly not the board's fault, but this has been an extraordinarily costly endeavor. Drug testing costs money and time. The fines and the probation monitoring and the cost recovery have been extensive. And all of the people that I've employed to help me, the supervisor, the monitor, all of these people are accepting a fee to do this. No one's doing this for free. So, and now with COVID-19 on top of it, my practice went from 60 hours a week to 2 days a week, and we're now hopefully going back to 4 days a week next week. But it's been an enormous financial burden. And like I said, I've complied with everything I've been asked to do. And through the mitigation, after the initial inspection in 2015, all of the deficiencies were corrected. All of the things that would prevent this from ever happening again have been put in place. I've done I've corrected the logs, and I've put all the drugs in foolproof safes. I have all the appropriate forms. I have been very fastidious in filling out patient records properly. And yes, we have had a supervised practice, but I don't feel that I need supervision to continue to practice.
Okay, thank you. Also, you mentioned that you were using your AA meetings as a part of your support structure. Can you give me some more input about what you consider your support mechanisms when you're under stressful situations, and who your supporters might be?
Well, in AA, we just, it's a we program. And so we kind of rely on each other in the program. I mean, you can go to any country in the world and go to an AA meeting and be accepted. So you have this built-in support system, and you also kind of have free therapy in AA. In some ways, it's kind of nice to be an alcoholic because you can go anywhere and have instant friends. So it's just a nice support to have in your life.
Do you have a sponsor, or have you been a sponsor through that organization?
Well, yes, I've been a sponsor and I have a sponsor.
Do you have any other mechanisms to deal with stress?
Well, I mean, I have normal things. I go to the gym and I garden and I cook. I have a lot of other things that I do in my life that I enjoy.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you. Ms. Bowler?
Good morning. Thank you for coming today, or wherever you are, wherever we all are. I have a couple of questions, and you did answer some of them in your testimony, so I appreciate that. I really found very troubling the substantial sort of fraudulent prescription and lack of management of controlled substance, that whole portion. Very troubling. And you did, I couldn't understand why it was all being diverted since you said you had been sober since 2010. So you explained some of that, and I understand that. And I was going to ask you when you first became a veterinarian, which you just answered. So in 2015, when you opened your new firm or new practice, you had been a vet for 30 years or more, right? Which troubles me a little bit in not understanding the DEA requirements, drug reporting and whatnot. And I wondered if you could give us a little bit more information about that now that we know why you needed to do it.
Yes. So again, I want to emphasize to you that I am not justifying what I did when I explained to you what happened. And I am not blaming anyone else. I take full responsibility for what I did. For 25 years, from 1989 until 2014, my ex-husband and I job shared. He was a graduate of Cornell Vet School, and I went to Penn. He managed our hospital. And again, I'm not blaming anybody, but he managed our hospital. We had a technician that did the drug logs. I was just a doctor. I didn't do any reporting, tours reporting. I didn't have any of those responsibilities. And when I opened my new hospital, I bought all new facilities, or new equipment, I should say. And I took very little from the old practice. The hospital property had been sold and we were asked to leave. They demolished the property and they put in condominiums. I bought a new building and I constructed the new facility, and I was opening pharmaceutical accounts and all the things you have to do. I had somebody clone the computer. We were scanning patient records. We were establishing new records for the new facility. It was a pretty daunting task. And unfortunately, there was a lot of chaos. I was going through a divorce, and I had never managed a hospital before. And yes, I had been practicing as a veterinarian for 25 years, but I never ran a business prior to opening my own business. And it was a great undertaking. It was my Mount Everest, but I did a lot of things wrong. And many of them were due to the enormous chaos that was going on and trying to staff the new hospital. My manager was working autonomously, and it just, going through the divorce, in addition, my personal life was chaotic. And a lot of just terrible things happened that, like I said, I don't want to blame anybody, but it was a very bad time in my life. And a lot of things as a result, as a consequence, occurred. And unfortunately, I can't, again, justify any of that, but it is what it is. And I have tried very, very, very vigilantly to not only correct everything I did wrong, but to make sure it will never happen again.
Thank you. Thank you. I just have a couple. And your sincerity shows through even on the small little frame that we see you, at least to me. So I appreciate your answer. Is your DEA license, I don't know a lot about this because I'm a public member, in good standing now? I assume it is. But do you have any DEA oversight given the raid and all those circumstances, or did you for a number of years after 2015?
Well, there's always DEA oversight. You have to submit a cures report. The veterinary board is not permitted to come into your hospital at any time. So everything has to be kept in order, or again, I would be open to violation.
Yeah, I guess I was just asking, but anything super special or a special oversight that's more extraordinary after a raid. So I just didn't realize whether there was such a thing or not. And then last, I had a question. Do you have other vets that are practicing with you in your practice?
No.
No. Okay. I think that was it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Bradbury?
Hi, thank you. Hi, Dr. Maurices. Thank you for coming today and for being so open about all of this. I have a lot of similar concerns and questions, and I've only had a brief moment to look over the exhibits that were presented, but they also raised some concerns for me. First of all, I wanted to know, when was the last time you prescribed hydrocodone or Vicodin to a dog or cat in your clinic recently?
I have not done that at all since this all happened.
Okay.
If somebody wants
now.
The emergency facilities are using a lot of those medications. They do fentanyl patches and Tylenol with codeine, and I have avoided doing any of that. I use buprenorphine, Cimbidol, Tramadol, and recently there's been some reports that Tramadol is not very effective in dogs. So we have been discussing with the DEA the possibility of using some of those controlled drugs, but I have not yet prescribed any of them.
Okay.
I'm going to be extremely careful before I do anything again.
Sure. It's just that for me, I work in a specialty practice with a large surgery group, and we very rarely prescribe. We don't actually use Vicodin, but I know that is in favor in some places. At least currently, it's a newer thing that people seem to be using again. So it just was surprising to me for me to see that you were ordering such a large quantity of them, even if you were actually ordering it for your clinic. I'm having a hard time understanding how you were using so much in a general practice. It sounds like you use that regularly. Was that your painkiller, or go to like?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of those pills went missing. And in the discovery that the DEA did, it was spelled out that a lot of those pills went missing.
Okay.
And again, I'm not blaming anyone, but my manager at the time stated that he unpacked medication. It was put in the control drawer and later found missing. None of these things were logged. So I never really got my hands on a lot of those medications that were ordered way back then.
Okay.
And again, I'm not blaming the manager, but the logs were not being kept appropriately. And we were using binders at that time. And that manager left. He abandoned his job at the time of this investigation.
Okay. So you said that you're under the care of Roger Kassendorf, I believe, for pain management. Are you currently having a flare-up of your psoriatic arthritis? And I'm sorry that I know people with that condition, and I know how painful it can be.
Well, we just doubled the dose of Cosentyx last month. So instead of 150 milligrams, I'm taking 300 milligrams. It comes in an injection, and so I administer it. And I do methotrexate once a week. So the pain medication is used as needed. But again, I don't get high from that medication. It helps a lot with my mobility.
Yeah, no, I believe you that you're in pain.
I did 12 surgeries yesterday, and I don't think I could have done that without some help.
Okay. So looking at the drug logs, and I really am not trying to be like accusatory here. It's just really concerning to me. Like, you're a human being, and I know people who have had chronic pain issues and the condition you have. And so looking at the current drug log that was just provided, it has the months from January to now. And the opioids that have been prescribed there's a huge amount of opioids. I'm not a human doctor, but according to this, if I did calculations, you'd be taking 5 oxycodone a day in addition to the morphine sulfate in order to the 30-day supply that this person has prescribed you is 150 pills. And they've increased the dose from 10 milligrams to 15 milligrams and increased the volume that has been prescribed to you from 120 tablets to 150 tablets for a 30-day supply, and added in the morphine. And to me, that's super concerning, considering that you think of yourself as sober, and these medications are so addictive, and the concerns we had stem from you writing fraudulent for these very type of drugs, although not as strong as this. I also did a quick search on your pain doctor, and I know that he's not on trial here, but he was just fined by the U.S. Attorney General for illegally prescribing pain medication for people who didn't need it. And are you aware of that?
No, I was not.
Miss Bradbury, I'm gonna cut that off. Excuse me. It's not a relevant question, and not really within her wheelhouse. If you have questions about her experience with her doctor, that's separate.
Okay, thank you. I don't know what the limits are. I'm just worried for her, honestly, more than anything. So are you using these drugs daily when you're working in the clinic?
If I need them.
Okay. Okay, so have you been needing a higher dose each month in order to cope?
Well, occasionally, and especially at night after I've done 11 surgeries. My hands are very painful. But like I said, it helps with the pain. It does not change I don't know how to describe to you. The only thing I can say to you is there is a difference between getting high on a medication and taking a medication for pain.
Yeah.
And I guess, my body has acclimated to Cosentyx to a point where he had to double the dose. So perhaps when you mentioned that some of the pain medications have been increased as well, that could be why.
Yeah, and I'm sure it is. It's just that the concern is with your history of, abuse of other substances, and how these narcotics affect people, that it's concerning to us, I think, or to me anyway, that you'll be able to practice without needing additional pain medication. So I'll leave it there. Thank you. I'm sorry. Those were difficult questions, and I'm sorry that you're pain.
Can I just say, I have never been accused of writing a prescription for myself. I have never been accused of allegedly, taking any of these medications, and I have never abused drugs. And my alcohol issue was only uncovered through this investigation. I never had a problem. I mean, I've been practicing, like I told you, for a long time.
Yeah.
And drugs were never alleged as being a problem.
I understand. And you have glowing reviews, and it sounds like you practice really good medicine. So I'm more just worried about you, and I hope that your pain gets controlled.
Thank you.
Dr. Nunez?
Okay. Thank you for being here. I know it's difficult and incredibly stressful. Four of us here on the call are practicing veterinarians, so we definitely know what it is to practice 12-hour days. We know how stressful the job is and how exhausting it can be. So I empathize with you in that regard. When we are considering a petition for reduction of probation or reduction of penalties, our job is to consider the reason why the petitioner is on the respondent petitioner was placed on probation in the first place. What was the problem? And have they shown us evidence of rehabilitation to address that problem, rehabilitate themselves so that problem will not result in harm to our patients and disservice to the consumer. Your case is confusing to me because it's not very straightforward. In so many cases, we've had evidence of veterinarians or RDTs that are incompetent. They're doing things medically that are just wrong, and that has resulted in harm to the patients. So in those cases, evidence of rehabilitation would be things like going to CE courses or training courses and learning how to practice medicine correctly. Once we see that, then we can reinstate them because we need veterinarians, as you know. All of our appointment books are usually full, days in advance. We only have 2 schools here. We're not here to punish veterinarians or RVTs. We're here to make sure that we practice at the highest levels. I don't see any evidence of competent veterinarians. There hasn't been any documentation of that. Other cases, we have petitioners that clearly have a problem with drugs and alcohol. They've been pulled over for DUA issues, or they've tested positive on drug testing. They've missed lab tests and so forth. They've really, really messed up their lives. In those cases, we look for sobriety dates, for participation in AA meetings and acceptance of their problems. From what I know, from what I've read of your package, I also don't think that you have a problem with drugs or alcohol. I don't think you're an alcoholic. I don't think you're a drug abuser. There's nothing I've seen that would suggest that. So I'm not looking for that in rehabilitation. What I do see is that you made an incredibly stupid act by ordering all these drugs in a way that that was wrong. I can't imagine writing a prescription for 100 tablets of a controlled substance for a patient just to get the drugs because I need to move my practice in a hurry.
Dr. Nunez?
Yes?
I realize that you have some concerns, but do you have questions for Dr. Maurices?
I do. I'm getting to that. So The problem is that you didn't deal with stress very well. You're going through a divorce, you were moving to a new practice, and you made a series of very bad decisions because you didn't deal with stress very well. So it's not a far stretch that if you're in a busy practice and you're dealing with stress, then maybe you may make another bad decision. And I don't see that your AA efforts or your drug testing, that's irrelevant to me because it's not dealing with the problem that I think you have. And the problem you have is how you deal with stress. Just now you said you had 11 surgeries yesterday.
Yes.
What were those elective procedures? because in my opinion, I don't think any veterinarian should be doing 11 surgeries in one day, especially if they are elective procedures. That just is going to overwork you. It may result in a decrease in quality of medicine. To me, that says you're not dealing with stress very well if you're doing 11 surgeries a day. So my question is, have you been able to acknowledge that you have a problem with dealing with stress? You need to acknowledge that you're an alcoholic. You need to acknowledge that you're a drug user, but that's not the case. You need to acknowledge that you have a problem dealing with stress. It has, in the past, resulted in making bad decisions. I speculate that it might be making you make bad decisions by doing 11 procedures in one day, especially if they're elective procedures. And how are you dealing with that now?
So, with all due respect, I don't believe that what I did back then was triggered by stress. I think it was triggered by poor management, not having a good veterinary manager to run the practice, not overseeing what was going on efficiently with the logs and the other implementations that I now have safeguarded to have everything organized and controlled and not so chaotic. I mean, I've had stress my entire life without going through the details, and I've been able to handle stress. I don't think that anything that I did was triggered by stress. I now have a good hospital manager. I have the computer is organized. When I started this new hospital, I had somebody clone the computer from the old hospital. We were putting all the patients on a new computer system. We were opening all these pharmaceutical accounts under my name because they had been under my ex-husband's name when we practiced together at the old facility. There was just an enormous amount of things to do. And my oversight was very poor. And my management skills were very poor. My organization was very poor. And my manager working autonomously was not a good idea. So again, I honestly do not think any of these things were triggered by stress. I think I handle stress amazingly well. I have 3 children. I mean, I've lived a very full life. So I don't think the stress of doing 11 surgeries, I've been practicing now a very long time. We just have condensed our days because of COVID-19. We're making email appointments instead of phone appointments. One of my staff has very bad asthma, so we've had to do a lot of things to condense our days. We are now next week going to start opening up. We've never had a situation where we've had to do special things in the hospital. But again,
your problem is not stress. If your problem is poor management skills that resulted in you making this decision for ordering the drugs in the manner that you did, how have you addressed that? How have you become a better manager? And tell me why is being a better manager, you say that you are still capable of doing 11 surgeries in one day, but almost in that same sentence, you said, as long as I take extra pain medicine, because that I needed that to get me through 11 surgeries. That doesn't seem like it's good management. You can do it, but you need extra pain medicine to do it. You might be going in the wrong direction there. How have you been a better manager?
I have now implemented all of the things that I needed to do to organize the hospital. And although I do have oversight, I am ultimately responsible for everything. I have delegated a lot of tasks to different people in the hospital. So everything is not on my shoulders. And the people who I have delegated tasks to have to be accountable for what they're doing and whether or not it's been done correctly.
Good. Good. And those elective procedures, all 11 of them?
2 of them were not elective, but I do rescue work. I'm affiliated with 3 different rescue groups. And actually we had a litter of kittens and that same family's dog that was not on the books yesterday. But I can do cat neuters pretty fast. So we kind of maybe made some kind of record yesterday.
All right. You can do 11 cat neuters. That's acceptable.
Yeah, but that's not stressful for me. That's my happy place. I enjoy what I do.
Our job is hard, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to any of us. And I don't want you to have to take more pain medicines to get through a day. That's not healthy.
Thank you.
That's all the questions
Anything
I have.
further? Thank you. I understand that Ms. Laredo is not present. Ms. Yanez, am I saying that right? Do you have questions?
You know, at this point, everything that I was curious about has been asked, so I do not have any questions at this point.
Okay. Ms. Prado?
Hi, and thank you for being here. I just had a quick question. Has there been any management skill courses that you have taken or organizational skill courses that you have taken during this time?
Yes, I've taken quite a few practice management courses, and I have obtained through those courses textbooks on practice management.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Dr. Waterhouse?
Yes, thank you for being here. So, I have a few questions. So you were a practicing veterinarian at the old address from what, 1989 to 2015?
Yes.
And were you using controlled drugs during that time? Did you administer anesthesia? Did you prescribe controlled drugs during that time?
Yes.
And did you not already have a DEA license?
Registered to that address. And when my ex and I moved our separate ways, so in February of 2015, knowing that we had to leave the property, I purchased a building that was half a block down the street, and I built a new hospital.
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
And during that period of time, I bought all new equipment. The only thing I really took from the old hospital were surgical packs and books. And I needed an inventory. I didn't take very much in the way of medications.
So but the DEA license is not registered to a hospital. The DEA license is for each veterinarian. So did you not already have a DEA license?
No, I had a DEA license that was registered to the address of the old facility.
It was at the address, but it was to an individual veterinarian.
Right, but I was told...
That was your husband?
Yes, and I was told until I got a DEA license under the new address of the new hospital, I could not order controlled substances for the new facility.
And when were you told that?
When I spoke to the DEA in October of 2015. This investigation.
And what month was it that it was June when you opened your practice?
Right, and that's when I had done these things that were unlawful and I shouldn't have done them. But when I had an opportunity to speak to the head of the DEA in October, we clarified exactly how I should go about doing things and what I had done wrong.
So over the 4-month period you were writing writing prescriptions that were diverted. Okay.
Yes, so with your DEA license, you can write a prescription, but you can't order medication to an address that's not registered with that license.
Correct. But that license is to an individual, not to the hospital.
Right, and that individual license allows you to write a prescription.
Correct.
It does not allow you to order medication to a different, to be delivered to a different address.
Okay, so one point I'm trying to make is that you should have had a DEA license to start with.
I did have a DEA license.
At the old address?
Yes.
Okay, so you did have a DEA license at the old address?
Yes.
Okay, do you know that it's a simple matter to change the address? It doesn't take 2 months to change the address.
Well, it took them 2 months to provide me with the paperwork I needed with the new address.
And what medications, what controlled drug medications were you cited by the DEA for writing?
I believe in the allegations, there were missing medications for Valium, for alprazolam, for Vicodin, which is hydrocodone with bromocriptine. I have to look at the accusation again to give you the exact list, but those were several of them.
Okay, were they all oral medications?
Yes, they were all oral medications.
There were no injectable medications?
No.
Okay. And kind of, well, I know before COVID hit, what kind of a schedule, just give me an idea. Do you practice 5 days a week, 6 days a week? And I was confused because Dr. Lindsay is the MGL, correct? So I assumed that he saw some patients there, but he doesn't?
No.
Okay.
He has referred some patients to me when he's taken days off, but he doesn't practice at my facility.
And what kind of, how many days a week is the practice open before COVID hit?
6 days a week.
Okay. And you're the only practicing veterinarian there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I think that's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the board has had a chance to ask questions. Does anyone have any brief questions, board members lingering? And Ms. Crawford.
Your Honor, I do have one more question that I failed to ask earlier, if I may.
Go ahead.
Dr. Maurice, you mentioned that your doctor submitted a report that contained a cures log of all the prescriptions that you're taking. I think that's Dr. Roger Kassendorf, Kassendorf.
Yes.
I'm curious about something I noted in the cures report. States that you get all of your medication filled by CVS Pharmacy 9926. Is there any particular reason you get your prescriptions filled at that pharmacy?
They're less than a block away from my hospital.
Okay. And is your hospital close to your home?
About 25 to 30 minutes.
Okay, so the pharmacy is about 25 to 30 minutes away from your home.
Yes.
Okay. And the reason I asked that question, do you know, or are you familiar with anyone at that pharmacy, the pharmacist or the pharmacist in charge?
No.
Okay. I asked that question because I note in your accusation that when you ordered the fraudulent prescription for the pets, that those individuals who went to fill those prescriptions indicated that the pharmacy refused to fill their prescriptions. And so you specifically wrote new prescriptions and referred them to this same pharmacy, CVS Pharmacy 9926. And I'm wondering why you did that. What is so significant about this particular CVS pharmacy that you sent your patients there to get? And if it has anything...
It's just right around the...
But why do you have any interest in where your patients went to fill the prescriptions?
Those prescriptions, and again, I'm not justifying what I did. Those prescriptions were meant to stock the pharmacy in our hospital.
Okay, so
CVS wouldn't fill prescriptions for the hospital, and I was told to write the prescription under the name of the patient because they couldn't fill a prescription under the name of the hospital.
Right.
So I don't tell people where to go to get prescriptions. These were my employees trying to get prescriptions filled for the hospital. And it was convenient because the CVS pharmacy is right down the street from us.
I'm referring specifically to the accusation and allegation 39 in AGO 065, Exhibit 4, that says that you had let me try to locate a better page. In the factual sections, there was indication that the prescriptions that were originally taken to a different pharmacy had refused them because of the name issue, but that when you reissued the prescriptions, that you had specifically instructed this particular pharmacy. And my concern is, in light of the questions asked by the board regarding your prescriptions for yourself and the prescriptions you ordered back here in 2015 and the use of this specific pharmacy, that I'm wondering if you're aware of that this pharmacy would fill prescriptions without questions asked. That's why you sent your patients to that pharmacy.
I'm going to object. I think she's been asked and answered why she uses that pharmacy. And if you're going to refer to specific allegations in the first amended accusation, could you please give us the paragraph so that she can look at it? I have a copy of that with me, but I am going to object. She's testified 3 times now as to why she goes to that pharmacy.
Okay, that objection is sustained. Ms. Crawford, do you have questions about any particular allegation that Dr. Maurices has not yet answered?
Other than the one I've asked about?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that Ms. Litz was saying that you haven't pointed us to what you are reading from in the factual allegations. And from what I can tell, Dr. Maurices has answered that question.
I understand, Your Honor, and just for the record, I am referring to paragraphs 37 through 39 in the accusation.
Okay, anything further on that point?
No.
Okay. Ms. Flutes, your client has the burden. Do you have anything further to ask? We don't typically do closing statements in petition hearings.
Yes, I do have a couple of follow-up questions. And then also, before we close, you want to go through these exhibits?
I do, yeah.
Okay. So my follow-up question is, Dr. Maurices, when you performed 11 surgeries yesterday, what were those surgeries?
Stays, neuters, and 2 worms.
Okay. Were they all done for the rescue?
A good majority of them.
Okay. How many were cat neuters?
I think there were 6 cat neuters.
Okay, so out of the 11, 6 of them were cat neuters. How long does it take you to do a cat neuter?
5 minutes. I use hemoclip.
Okay, so of the other surgeries that you did that day, how many were spayed?
I think we did 2 cat spades and 2 dog spades.
How long does it take you to do a cat spay?
20 minutes.
And were they large dogs or small dogs?
Small dogs.
How long does it take you to spay?
20, 25 minutes.
So as far as these 11 surgeries that you did, can you give me an estimate of the total amount of time you were doing surgery?
We started at 1:30 and we finished at 7:30.
But during that time, how much of that time were you actually doing procedures? I'm not talking about.
Yeah, well, we have to induce, and then we have to prep them, and then we have to move them into the OR, and we hook up monitors, and then I do surgery, and then we have to recover them.
My question is, how much time were you personally involved in this?
Oh, a fraction of that.
And can you give me an estimate of the fraction?
So let's say maybe 3 hours.
Okay, thank you. I just want to clarify, did you say that you took pain medication throughout the day to get through the day?
No.
Okay, what was your response to, I believe it was Dr. Nunez, regarding your taking pain medication on that day?
At the end of the day, I took pain medication.
And where is the pain that you have?
My hands and my feet.
In your petition that you submitted, is there evidence of practice management courses that you've taken?
Absolutely.
And just to clarify, when you were at your previous hospital, did you have an individual beating license?
Yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor, except to go through these minutes.
Thank you. So I trust everyone has received exhibits A through H. If you have not, could you raise your hand, shake your head, do a dance? Okay, so let's go through them. You have briefly introduced them. Did you want to, do you have anything in particular on those exhibits besides offering them?
Not really, Your Honor. I think they speak for themselves.
Okay. So you've gone through their titles in generally. Ms. Crawford, do you have any concerns about A through H? Any objections?
I can go through them briefly, Your Honor. I have no objections to A and B. Exhibit C through H, I don't have an objection to them being introduced as administrative hearsay. Exhibit E, I just note a relevance objection.
Ms. Lutz, let's start with Exhibit E. Do you have a response to the relevance objection?
Yes, I do. There are allegations that Dr. Maurices failed to call in for drug testing. And Exhibit E is an email chain that started with Virginia Gerard asking her to provide information as to why she missed calling in for testing on those days. And then is also a response by Dr. Maurices dated January 23rd, 2020, her initial response as to why she did not test on those days. So it's directly relevant to the fact that she missed some tests.
Okay, and as far as the administrative hearsay objection?
I have no problem with that, Your Honor.
Okay, the relevance objection is overruled. I will admit A, B, and B for all purposes. C is administrative hearsay. E, I will admit, and F and G, administrative hearsay. Anything further, Ms. Lutz?
So was Exhibit H admitted as administrative hearsay?
GH, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to just close by urging the board to consider the actual allegations in the accusation and the enormous effort that Dr. Maurices has gone to comply with the probation terms, and to realize that there were no allegations ever made that she was abusing drugs. There are no allegations that she's abusing drugs at this time. And the fact that she's prescribed Percocet, which was specifically allowed in paragraph 24, that she'll be allowed to take controlled substances on a prescription, that be considered when the board makes their final determination as to whether or not to grant the petition. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so I have all of the exhibits and testimony. The record is closed. The matter is submitted. We are off the record. And if you were there, could you please give me an estimated page number and time?
And this is the BNB moderator. You may need to unmute your microphone.
Yes, can you hear me now? Yes, page estimate is 70 and time is 11:29.
Thank you. And your CSR is 9149?
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to the board president if you want to take a break, or you said that we're doing a different order, so I'm going to leave that to you.
Yeah, I think we need a break. And also, I think the board needs time to really take a look at these exhibits that were just given to us. So I'd like to propose a 15-minute break. Does that sound reasonable, board members?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I see a lot of shaking of heads. So I'd like to request a 15-minute break for us to actually get a chance to look at these.
Okay, so who's the next petitioner that you intend to call?
Would be, sorry, the print is so small. Looks like it is Edmonds. Daniel Edwards, I'm sorry, it's my eyes.
I'm sorry, Miss Edwards actually withdrew her petition, so we're going to go to Dr. Schultz next.
Okay, Beth Schultz would be next. Thank you. I can't, the print is very small on my screen.
So we'll reconvene at 11:45.
Okay, and you're finished with us? We can go.
My only question would be, Dr. Nolan, do you have did you want to ask questions about those documents, or did you just want time to review them before you deliberate?
I think we should leave the option of questions open, since none of us have really had a chance to digest these documents, and there may be further questions. So if we could impose upon the petitioner and her counsel to come back at 11:30 just in case. Is that all right? Because I mean, I haven't had a chance to really digest them, and I don't know if the rest of you have, but.
That's no problem. That's what I anticipated for that one.
Okay, so we'll come back at 11:45 and pick up there. And if it sounds like we might go back on the record for that matter.
Fine.
Okay.
I'll be
So
here.
we'll pick up at 11. Okay. Thank you.
Ask you if you have any further questions for the petitioner after reading the exhibits.
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Bradbury.
Wait. We're not on the record or anything.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
I just want to get a sense.
On the record. Yeah.
That's okay. Does anyone else have questions? Okay. So I would encourage everyone to re-mute yourselves if you're not speaking. And are you ready to go back on the record in the matter of Dr. Maurices?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Let's go back on the record, please. We are back on the record in the matter of Dr. Maurices' petition for early termination. We went off the record to take a break, and while we had closed the record prior to the break, the board had a chance to review some of the exhibits that petitioner submitted, and there's at least one board member with a question. Dr. Bradbury, go ahead. If Dr. Maurices, if you're ready, then I've got a few more questions.
Sure.
Thank you. Dr. Bradbury.
Hi again. I was wondering if the court recorder, I don't know whether it's recorder or reporter, could go back to the question I asked Dr. Maurices about whether she had was using the pain medications while she was working, because I heard something different than what she said to Dr. Lutz when she was kind of cross-examining her, going back and questioning her.
So let's go off the record, please.
Okay.
And did you get that? And are you able to go back that far? I know we kind of had a weird break here.
Yeah, I can. What exactly? It's going to take me just. Yeah, if you don't mind taking just a couple of minutes, I can.
No, it's okay. I wanted to go off the record because I know you can't record us while you're looking. So.
Let's see. I'm sorry. What, Ms. Bradbury?
It was towards the end of my questions. It was relating to her use of her painkillers for her condition, and
okay. And what in particular were you looking for?
I was looking for my question exactly and what her reply was, because I thought I heard something different.
Okay. I mean, what is the question that you're looking for?
Do you use those painkillers when you're practicing or something to that?
Oh, okay. Let me look through here. This might be it. So are you using these drugs daily when you're working in the clinic? Answer, yes, I need them. Is that the one?
Yeah. Do we go back on the record for that?
Yeah. Okay. So, Anne, I want you to hold that place because
We're gonna go back. Okay.
The last question was whether you could read it back. So we should put that
okay
on the record, and just we'll do it slowly so you can do both of those things at the same time.
Yeah, and there might be
yeah.
You might there's a follow-up question and answer. I don't know if you want to hear that now.
If you want to read the whole exchange, that would be fine.
Yeah, so it was answer, yes, I need them. Questions, so you've been needing a higher dose each month in order to cope. Answer, well, occasionally and especially at night after I've done 11 surgeries, you know, my hands are very painful. But like I said,
Can you guys hear her? Because I can't. Okay.
No, she broke up. She broke up.
I don't know if you can hear us, Ann, but we cannot hear you anymore.
Hello?
There you are.
There you are.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we lost you. We lost you for a minute. You had just said.
I don't know how to describe to you.
And that's good. I don't know that the initial question though made it onto the record. Did it?
So we'll go back on the record and we can revisit this. So Anne, if you're ready to go on the record,
yes,
I'll let Dr. Bradbury. Okay, so we're back on the record, and Dr. Bradbury, you had a question about the court reporter repeating a question that you had asked earlier.
Yes, please.
So Anne, could you repeat the
first question?
The first question and the response, please. You're muted, just so you know, Anne.
I'm muted. It's going to take me a sec to go to it, just because
that's fine.
Okay. Okay. Question. So are you using these drugs daily when you're working in the clinic? Answer, yes, I need them.
Thank you. So my question, Dr. Maurices, is, are you or aren't you using these drugs when you're working in the clinic? And I understand it's for pain. I don't think you're trying to get high. I just wanted to clarify that for an answer.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, just to be clear, any other board members have questions about these documents?
Can I ask questions to follow up what I was asking Dr. Maurices before?
Are they about the documents or what Dr. Bradbury has just asked?
It's about the diversion of drugs, yes.
Go ahead.
So Dr. Maurices, so as I understand it from what you said, then the DEA, you were diverting oral drugs for those first 4 months of practice at your new location because because you said you didn't have a DEA license with that address on it.
I'm going to object. There's no allegations of diverting.
Okay, whatever term you want to use. You were getting these oral controlled drugs at the new practice, and that's what led to the problems with the DEA and the VMB. But you were getting these controlled drugs, these oral controlled drugs, for the first 4 months of practice. Is that correct?
Many of these prescriptions were not filled, and a lot of these medications went missing.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so my question is, were you doing surgery the first 4 months at the new location?
Yes.
And how were you getting the injectable controlled drugs?
We had some injectable controlled drugs because my ex-husband and I split our inventory from the old facility. So I had ketamine, diazepam, midazolam. I had some butorphanol. I can't tell you exactly what my inventory was back in 2015, but I had enough injectable medication to provide surgery services.
Thank you.
Anything further for Dr. Maurices? Excuse me. Okay, I appreciate Dr. Maurices and Ms. Lutz you waiting for those follow-up questions. At this point, I've basically taken the closing statement, so we're just going to close again. The matter is submitted. We're off the record.
Thank you.
Thank you all. And Ms. Lutz and Dr. Maurices, I believe that you are free to go now. You'll be provided via an electronic copy of the court reporter's billing detail at some time following the hearing. And do you have I lost my pen. Do you have an updated page number for me?
Yeah, just 75 pages.
Thank you. And the time is 11:57?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I believe the next petition will be Dr. Schultz. Is that correct? Yeah, termination of probation, Beth Schultz.
This is the moderator. I've made Beth a panelist.
Thank you.
Actually,
Can I interrupt for a moment, Your Honor? We don't usually, are we not going to deliberate each case at?
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe we should have talked about this before. I have always taken all of the petitions and then deliberate. Do you do it differently?
We sometimes do deliberate between, depending on the timing. So that's fine with me, though, if it's all right with the panel, I mean, with the rest of the board. I just sometimes do talk about the case so that we don't get our facts, confused with different cases.
This is up to you. I usually take all of the petitions in a row to kind of save time for folks.
I think that's fine. Is that all right with the board?
Yes, I think we should just go ahead and proceed.
Okay, good. We'll
Okay, thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. And Beth Schultz, you've been promoted. Could we just get a test so I know that we can all hear you?
Hello.
And there you go. Okay, we can hear you now. I understand that you are not represented. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to switch over files real quick. Ms. Crawford, is there anything that we need to address before we go on the record in the next matter?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we can't actually see Dr. Schultz's video. Ms. Schultz, would you mind testing your video?
Yeah, hold on.
Thank you.
this is the moderator. Dr. Schultz, if it helps, at the bottom of your screen, you should see some dots when you hover over them. It's the second one from the left.
Okay.
And if you tap on that, you should get a video. Is that available to you? And if it's not, we can try the second route.
Is that working?
Oh, there we go.
Yes, it is.
Okay. I can't get the camera to flip around and I'm on my phone, so I'm looking at the back of my phone. So I hope it's aimed okay.
It is. Yeah.
You have to find that. We'll try to tell you if that changes.
Okay.
Okay. So before we start, is there anything that you would like to address before we go on the record? And do we have all of the documents? I have the petition packet. Were there any other documents that you had intended to produce?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, then, Anne, if you're ready, then we'll go on the record.
I'm ready.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I'm ready, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay. All right, I have a few too many screens going on. Here we go. Okay. We are on the record before the Board of Veterinary Medicine to review the petition of for early termination by Beth Schultz, OAH number 2020050712, board number 46202017000127. My name is Heather Rowan. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. I have been assigned to preside over this matter. Prior to going on the record today, we established that there is a quorum of the board present today. May I take the appearance for the Attorney General, please?
Anahita Crawford, Deputy Attorney General.
Thank you. And Ms. Schultz, you are present and representing yourself today, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so I'm just going to give a brief overview. I'm going to ask Ms. Crawford to give a history of this matter, what led to your license discipline.
Okay.
Following that, I'll allow you to make a statement. I will take that statement under oath, so I'll be swearing you in.
Okay.
After that, Ms. Crawford may have questions for you. Following that, I will allow the board to ask questions. At the end of today's proceedings, I have 30 days to present to, I'm sorry, at the end of today's proceedings, the board would deliberate about their decision. So there will be no decision today. You can expect that later on.
Okay.
Do you have questions before we begin?
No.
Okay. If questions occur to you as we are going, please let me know. I can't give you legal advice, but I can help you with procedure.
Okay.
I want to acknowledge briefly that we're all on a video conference. It's a little more awkward than a being in person. So I just want to make sure that everyone tries to pause, giving people a chance to finish what they were saying before jumping in. There's a court reporter on the line who can only take down one voice at a time. That said, Ms. Crawford, do you want to give a statement?
Thank you, Your Honor. I am appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Government Code Section 11522, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the court in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but intended to protect public interest and ensure the board has adequate information from which to make a decision. As an overview of this case, a statement of issues was filed on September 16th, 2017 against Petitioner's license her application, after she was denied a veterinary assistance controlled substance permit. Petitioner's application was denied due to a criminal conviction from 2003 for child abuse or endangerment. Further, she had failed to disclose this conviction when she applied for the veterinary assistance controlled substance permit, even though she was required to under penalty of perjury. The statement of issues was resolved with a stipulated settlement, which became effective on April 6, 2018. The settlement issued a veterinary assistance controlled substance permit to the petitioner and placed that permit on probation for 3 years. Her probation terms included limitations on the location of her practice, supervised practice, no ownership or management of a business or hospital, and to take ethics training. She is before the board seeking to terminate her probation a little less than 1 year prior to her scheduled termination date. Petitioner admits the truth of the allegations and has expressed remorse for her actions. She is compliant in all aspects of her probation, but $2,400 remains on her cost recovery. I have nothing
Thank
further,
you.
Your Honor.
Thank you. Could we go off the record for a moment? Could I just ask the moderator, do you have a trick for to change the camera on the mobile app for WebEx?
One thing you might, does your camera, Beth, Dr. Schultz, does your camera have a front camera?
I think it's my phone.
Okay, well, that's okay too. One option, is there a way you can set it back from you to actually go put the like an arm's length away from you without needing to hold it?
Yes, let me, I can probably hook up to my computer now. I was originally on my computer and my power went out. So I hooked up the phone on the hotspot. Let me just see if I can.
Sorry to,
I apologize. I was not expecting a power outage.
So actually, the way you have your phone now, if you could actually move back from it, it would probably be a good view.
How is that?
How does that work for everyone?
It's fine. We can see her. I just, I thought it might be, yeah, I thought it would be nice if she could see the people who are asking her questions. But if that's not going to happen, it's fine.
I think it will. I'm getting onto the computer back onto my laptop because I have internet now. So hold on.
Okay.
And the moderator is confusing some of the members by referring to the petitioner as Dr. Schultz. He's not Mary, is that correct?
Hold on.
I apologize for that.
Yeah. She's a veterinary assistant controlled substance. Some of the members by referring to petitioner as Dr. Schultz. Not Mary, is that correct?
Hold on.
I apologize for that. Yeah. She's a controlled substance. Oh wow.
I don't know if anyone else is hearing this, but I'm getting like a playback.
Yeah, it's because of my computer.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm trying to get.
Okay.
I think if everyone can mute, except for those who don't need to be muted.
Almost there.
And I'm going to check. Beth may have come in on twice, so let me see if she's shown up.
Okay.
Beth, we still have you connected by your phone, but we don't see a connection by your computer. Oh, Beth has come back. Beth, this is the moderator. It looks like you came in on your computer. I'm going to unmute your microphone for you. So can you hear us, and do you have an audio connection?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. All right. And so
Okay.
The next step is we need to, does your computer have a camera on it?
Yes, I am starting it right.
Okay. All right, there we go. You may want to point your view down a little bit. We see more from that's, and then maybe a little lower still. And then, yeah, I think how's that work for everyone?
Okay, so now you can see us in we can see you, hopefully. Correct? Ms. Schultz? You can see the folks who are talking to you. Can you hear me? Is this, I don't know if this is me or not. Can other people hear me?
Yeah, so this is
Yes.
yes, we can hear you. Beth,
Okay.
it looks like Beth is connected on the audio and her computer. Beth, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys, yes.
Okay, great. And then we can hear you. So I think we're good now.
Okay.
And
Okay,
actually,
so
before, you may want to turn down the volume on your computer a little bit so there's less feedback.
I can hear you.
All right.
Okay, great. So just another reminder, if you're not speaking at the moment, go ahead and mute yourself. Ms. Schultz, I've taken Ms. Crawford's statement. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand and swear you in. I don't think that she can hear me.
I'm like hearing everybody talking at once. It's almost like.
Is your phone still on?
Yeah, Beth,
you
I
have this
think you
on
might
the
be
phone
connected
and
by
the
your
computer?
phone. I think this is going to be, it looks like your phone is disconnected, and then are you connected? Can you hear me?
That's what I'm hearing.
Okay.
No, I turned it off. No.
Okay. So you can hear me, and then I think are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I think there might be a really long delay, and I don't know why.
Yes.
Okay. Anne, are we back on the record?
You can go on the record. Or that was on the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are on the record now. Okay. So, Ms. Schultz, we're going to move into your testimony. I'm going to go slowly because we seem to be having some sort of feedback issue. Will you raise your right hand, please? Not sure if this is working. Can you hear me? Will you raise your right hand, please? Can you hear me? Okay, this isn't working. I don't know. I could try changing my sound. I don't know.
I can hear you, yes.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm not quite, oops.
Is there,
There's a long delay, and I'm not quite sure how to address it.
is there any way to type?
Get some help?
Yeah, so if you want, let me get somebody that maybe we can call Beth directly and work one-on-one to get the connection.
Is there, I don't know what all of, can we go off the record, please? I don't know what all of the issues are, but maybe it would be better to take the next petitioner if that's possible until we can get this part worked out. Is that, where's Jessica? There.
So the problem with that is, yeah, so the issue is that we're going to request that the hearing is close to the public. So we would have to take it off webcast and close it to the public. So logistically, I think that would be difficult to do, to close it now and then reopen it, because the public wouldn't know when to come back for this petition.
Okay, so I think what we should do is take a few minutes, and if Ms. Schultz uses her phone and can't see folks, that's fine. I was trying to make it a smoother process for her, but that clearly didn't work. So let's just take a 5-minute break or so. Let the moderator try to figure out, make sure that Ms. Schultz can hear everything. And Jessica, I don't have the chat function open. It seems like eventually she's able to hear me, but if you want to just send her a message, or it sounds like somebody might be calling her.
Yeah, so this is the moderator. So yeah, I'll go offline. I'll work with Beth to get her connected. And then when I come back, I'll let everyone know.
Okay, thank you. All right, so everyone else, feel free to stand down, and we'll reconvene in just a few minutes. Sorry about all the technical difficulties, and we are going back on the record. Okay, so I had just taken a statement from the Deputy Attorney General, Ms. Schultz, and I was about to swear you in, which is why you saw my hand go up so many times. So raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Can you hear
I'm
me?
getting double feedback again.
Okay.
And Beth, this is the moderator. This is where we at. One of probably your computer volume or your phone volume. One needs to be down, so that you're only listening and talking through one device.
My cell phone's completely off.
Then there may be, we're always at the whim of an internet connection, and it may just be a very slow internet connection that can't handle. So one option, actually, I don't actually have another option. We already did them.
So how is it, Ms. Schultz, can you hear me when I speak to you?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear me say the oath? Didn't hear that. Did you hear me say the oath?
Let me try one more thing.
Okay.
I was on a WebEx last week, and all this audio video stuff wasn't working, and I eventually restarted my computer, and it worked. I don't know if that has been done. And I don't know whether restarting the computer always fixes everything. Always.
I was just going to say to the moderator, I'm sure you saw her fall off there. So
I did.
I'm guessing. Okay.
I
So
don't know.
I'm guessing she's going to try back.
You know, we've tried quite a few things, so I'm almost wondering if it's just a slow internet connection at our home.
Well, I kind of feel like I started all, and just for we're off the record here. I think I started all this when I asked to see if she could see people who were talking to her. Maybe it would be better to go back to her phone the way that she had it.
All right, so let me, I'll call her again. I'll have her close down her computer and we'll go back.
You two, do you sell them? Anne, can we go back on the record? I'm sorry. We are back on the record. We're going to try to pick up again after some technical difficulties. Ms. Schultz, do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. And for the record,
thank you. Say that again.
For the record, my right hand is raised.
Thank you. Okay, so this is your opportunity to give a statement to the board regarding your petition, and I will just let you do that now, and then I'll open it up to questions.
Okay. You know, I screwed up. I can't even give an excuse for it, so I'm not even going to attempt to try. This whole experience has been very humbling and very embarrassing for me, which, you know, that in itself will ensure that this never happens. It was an incident that happened quite a few years ago. And I think emotionally, I just turned it off and made a wrong choice. And that mistake has done nothing but make me a little stronger in making sure that from this point forward, I do the best that I possibly can to be forthcoming and honest in everything I do, whether it's professionally, personally, whatever may be the case. And I understand the board's position on this, and just ask that, because I have been very compliant, because I understand the position that I'm taken in as a whole person, and that we can just have an early termination on my probation. And that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Schultz. I'm going to ask the board, I'm sorry, Ms. Crawford, if she has any questions first, and then we'll go into the board. Ms. Crawford.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Schultz, I know you said that you just made a mistake on your application by not disclosing the conviction. Was there any thought process behind why you didn't disclose it?
You know, at the time, no, I can't say that there was a thought process. When I filled out the application, I was at work, we were busy, and when it asked me if I had any criminal record, you know, in my mind's eye, I'm thinking, well, heck no. You know, I'm a pretty law-abiding citizen. I don't even have a ticket on my record, and I just didn't think. I didn't think, and that's not an excuse. I should be thinking when I fill out a very important application for a very important permit. It shouldn't be taken lightly by any means. And in those instances, I should sit down, look at what I'm reading, what I'm signing, what I'm agreeing to, and have a thought process with it so that it is honest.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Crawford. I'm going to go to the board members one by one. Dr. Noland.
Thank you for joining us, Ms. Schultz, and I don't have any further questions.
Thank you.
Ms. Bowler.
Thank you again. It was nice to see you briefly and to you now. I just had a question, and maybe it's more for staff. Under your probationary terms, there was it looks like a $2,400 payment that needs to be made, or was it $4,800 and you've made $2,400 and you owe $2,400? I was confused about that.
I've paid $2,400. I think it was $3,000. It was, or $3,200, or $3,200. It was $100 a month for the term of the probation, and
right. So she's up to date.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much. And I just want to confirm, you've been employed since 2011 at the vet clinic, the Arnold Vet Clinic. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I am currently enrolled in school to get my RVT license, and I've hit a point with that where I needed large animal experience. So I've transferred employment over to Monoway Vet, where Wesley Whitman DVM has been authorized as my current supervisor, so that I can get the large animal experience.
Great. Well, thank you, and thank you for going to get your RVT license. We need more RVTs, and that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Bradbury.
Yeah, thank you for coming, and I'm sorry that you had the power outage on the same day as this. That's pretty stressful.
Yes.
So I had the same question as Kathy. And this is probably for the DAG. I thought that in the opening statements it was said that she still owes the $2,400, and I was under the impression that she didn't owe anything, and it sounds like she doesn't. Just to clarify that, please.
You're correct. I did misspeak. My understanding, and Ginger can correct me, is that she only owes at this point, I believe, $1,200.
Okay, thank you. And then I think, Ginger, that the $1,200, it's just the $100 a month is for the probation monitoring, right? So like if we were to terminate it, she wouldn't necessarily owe that. If she just owes it while she's still on probation. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Nunez.
I don't believe that there was any malice of intent on the petitioner's behalf when she incorrectly filled out the application. It does seem to be a common occurrence where applicants get a little bit confused about what they have to report and what they don't have to report. And now, especially with the law changing on certain aspects of that. So I think this is pretty straightforward. Congratulations on your grade point average in your approach. You're getting good grades. And in regards to the technical difficulties, I can't remember which Malcolm Gladwell book it was, but there was one example where he said that people made better judgments when they couldn't see the person anyway. It was, Kathy might know which book it was.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Yanez? We can't hear you.
I have no questions at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Prado?
I also don't have any questions at this time.
Dr. Waterhouse?
I also have no questions.
Okay. And just to be clear, Ms. Crawford, nothing further.
Further, thank you.
Ms. Crawford, this might be, maybe I did not take the proper notes, but I don't have any exhibits admitted.
You are correct. So I would like to correct that now. Let me just pull that up.
Ms. Schultz, have you had a chance to review the petition packet that the Attorney General submitted?
Yes.
Okay. She's just going to offer those exhibits into the record.
Okay. Exhibit 1 is the notice of hearing for today's hearing date. I would like that marked and introduced for jurisdictional purposes.
Exhibit 1 is admitted for jurisdictional purposes.
Exhibit 2 is the license history certification for the petitioner.
Ms. Schultz, do you have any objections to Exhibit 2?
No.
Exhibit 2 is admitted.
Exhibit 3 is the petition for early termination, along with the attachments in support.
Any objections, Ms. Schultz, to Exhibit 3?
No.
Exhibit 3 is admitted.
And Exhibit 4 is the stipulated settlement and disciplinary order, along with the statement of issues, which comprise the underlying action in this case.
Any objections, Ms. Schultz, to Exhibit 4?
No.
Exhibit 4 is admitted. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Schultz, I just want to give you one more opportunity. If there's anything you want to add, you have the burden in this matter, and you don't have to add anything. I'm just giving you that option.
No, other than to say thank you for your guys' time and your words of encouragement and support. It goes a long way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schultz. The board will deliberate following the hearing, so there won't be a decision today. You should receive that in writing. In the future, I don't have the timeframes, but it'll be more than 30 days.
Okay.
Okay?
Great.
All right. Thank you very much. The record is closed. The matter is submitted. We are off the record. Okay. Well, that one could have gone faster, huh? Dr. Noland, I will turn it back to you for the moment.
Okay, our next petition for termination of probation, we need to actually, I believe, Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong, we need to step off of this meeting because, no?
No, so what's going to happen is that we're going to request that this is closed to the public, so the moderator is ready to remove any remove all public members. And we're going to stay on the same link, and the webcast will be turned off.
Okay, so I guess I need to request that we go ahead and have that done.
Yeah, so this is the moderator. So if I could ask the members of the public, if we could ask you to just disconnect from the call the way you do that. If you hover down to the middle of your screen, you'll see a red X. You simply tap on that to end event. I'll give everybody a chance to do that. For those that don't, then you'll see a message that you were expelled by WebEx, but I wanted you to know why that was happening. So it looks like a lot of people are logging out.